Okay, so we have understood there are two main folders, main Java and test Java. Within those folders, we will be creating our packages, right? So we will follow our architecture, right? So which we have drawn earlier, right? So we will be creating separate package for each component. So my first component is my test base package, right? So base package should essentially come in this src main Java. So I'll create a package within this src main Java, calling the name should be very much, uh, as in it should be relevant to the project actually, in the real project, whatever name we are following in the real project, that should be exactly matching with our name. So we would be writing like commercial e-commerce, because e-commerce is the name of our application. Not e-commerce, let's keep it something like automation, or in short I can write like auto, then QA, and then base, right? So this folder would be my keeping the uh, base Java classes. Next folder I would be creating for next package I would be creating for pages, right? So for all the page classes I would be keeping within this package. So com.auto.qa. Pages. So likewise I would be creating the next package. The next package I would be creating for keeping the configuration. So for that I would be writing like com.auto.qa.config, right? So I would be keeping the properties file and all here. Next would be next package would be for keeping your test data, right? So this would be our com.auto.qa.test data. And the next package would be for your utils, right? So com.auto.qa.util. Okay, so these all packages would be part of my main Java. Now in my test Java, I would be creating a package uh, for keeping the test cases only. So there only one package would be there, that would be called as com.auto.qa.test cases. Likewise, I would be creating a package. Okay, so Vishal, before you joined, now since the packages are ready now, we have already evaluated our application, right? End-to-end application and what all pages it has. So uh, uh, basically for each web page we will be creating a page class, right? So before that, what we will do, we will create a properties file, right, that we will keep in our config package. All right, so let me create a property file here. Other and here let me write here like config dot properties. So this is a plain file, as in a you can store your environment variables here, right? So we are actually not keeping those environment variables in our test cases in our any of the Java classes. Those are kept separately, right? So here what kind of environment variables we can save here? Like we can save the URL of the application, right? We can save browser
Username, password.
browser, and then we can save the username, we can save the password, right? So those all environment variables we can keep here for as in like for keeping in the central repository somewhere, right? So everyone, I mean, if at all there are any changes in those parameters, we can come here directly and do the changes rather than surfing through the the entire project and then doing the changes at the multiple locations, right? So in our case, the URL would be this one, right? So automationpractice.com. So this is essentially our URL, automationpractice.com. And browser initially, I mean, we would be navigate, I mean, running our scripts on the multiple browsers, but for now we will be writing like Chrome. And why this is giving you issues? Then username would be and password would be, let's say, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Okay, and we have to save it here. All right, so likewise we will be keeping some of the environment variables here, right? Now the next task would be to create the pages, right? So what all pages we have essentially, right? And we will not be storing any test data in the properties file, because properties file is basically only for the global environment variables, right? So let me write it here also. So properties file or config.properties file is to keep the global environment variables only, and we should not keep any test data here, right? So this you have to make a note of. Now the next task would be to create a pages, multiple pages, right? So let's say we are having some pages, right? So first page would be like your what would be my page? Would be my home page, right? Wherein like I would be landing, once I navigate to that URL, I would be landing onto the home page. Right, so I am not selecting any public static void main method, because I would be using as of now we don't have to use anything, any kind of test ng or any main method here, because we will not be executing anything from here. It's just to keep the object repositories and the action methods, right? So next page would be to would be the login page or the sign in page, I would say. So let me write it like sign in page. This also we have seen. Next would be next page would be for keeping your customer registration page, right? So customer registration page. And next would be your forgot password page. Okay, so if I go to this test case flow, first was my home page, then sign in page, then registration page, and then my account page, right? So I think this flow is completed, and the next one was for password retrieval. Therein I have created a home page, sign in page, then forgot password page, next page and retrieve password success. Okay, and this the last page I would be anyways adding in the last. Now let me create a couple of pages for the end-to-end flow, right? So first page would be my home page, then sign in page, then your let's say my account page, then your next would be what is the next page, guys? Search product page, right? So search product page. Next would be your add to cart page. Okay, and next would be your proceed to checkout page. Let's say checkout page. And in checkout page, we are having multiple different pages. Let's see how we will do that going forward. Then let's say payment page. Payment confirm page. Then let's say order confirm page. And then let's say sign out page, which we might be using for multiple flow, or log out page. Okay, so likewise, I'm taking couple of pages as of now. So there are 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 11 pages I have taken as of now. Right. So likewise, I have created a pages. Right now, we will add all those object repositories and the action methods after some time. Let me create a base class now. Right. So in base class, what I will be doing, this would be created under your base package, right? And this would behave as a parent class for all your child classes, right? So wherein I would initialize my properties file and the web driver and all, everything I would initialize here. So I will write like test base. So this would be my base class. And here also, I don't need the public static void main. Okay, so this would be my base class. Let me close all except this. Right, so this is my base class, guys. Now this base class will act as a parent class. This test base class will be parent class. One second, who is? No, base class will not inherit from config, Disha.
Okay, because username, password, and browser name, those we are keeping into config, right? So
Yeah,
that
we
will
will
flow
read. We
from.
will read. We will
We will
read the
read that.
yeah
Okay.
config.properties file. We will read. Right, so we have some. We will have to create the object of properties file, and then we have some get property and all that. Using that, we can read the parameters from there.
Okay. Understood.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. So the test base class will be the parent class for all the classes in your project in end-to-end framework. So we will be using the concept of inheritance here. Right. So actually all those concepts are used internally, and sometime we will come to know that we are using this concept from Java, right? And at most of the times we will not even come to know that this concept is being used here from Java. We will be using inheritance concept here. All right, now what all we will do here, we will like initialize your properties file, right? So I will initialize my properties file. Then I will launch my browser, or to be specifically Chrome. Then I will maximize window, right? So that also I will be doing here, maximize window. Then I will be like keeping some synchronization in terms of keeping page load timeout, and let's say implicitly wait and all, right? Implicitly wait. Then uh, like I will be what else, decide the properties on which browser to run a script, so that is not needed. So we will be, I mean, as in like we will be defining all this in my base class, right? So I am here in my base class, and let me first do one thing. Let me uh, create something. uh, uh, First what I have to do, guys, I have to initialize, I will have to define WebDriver here globally, WebDriver, right? So WebDriver I will have to import from my WebDriver cannot be. Okay, so I have imported my WebDriver. Now what I will do, I will create a constructor of this base class, right? So why we need constructor? Just because we have to initialize the properties file even before calling the other method. So that constructor would be called first, and that will initialize my properties file. So for creating constructor, I will be using just the default constructor, public test base. And here within this constructor, I will initialize my properties file. So for that, I will define the properties at global level. This I have to import from util. And here using this prop, we have to import file input stream from IO. And then input stream, and then we have to load the property file dot load, and here I have to give this file input stream object. Okay, and this will essentially read the properties file, and then it will load it, right? So control I A and control I. Okay. Now next task would be for us to do will be creating your initializing your WebDriver here, right? So for that, I will create one method, right? So that would be my initialization method. So public, let me keep it static here, void initialization. And in this method, I will first get the browser name from my properties file. So how I will do, so let me write like prop dot get property, and here the browser name which I will be getting, so browser, and this I will, whatever the browser name I am getting from my config.properties file, I'll store in my uh, browser name variable here, right? And then basis this browser name, I will initialize my browser Chrome, this web driver, right? So we will be using the same logic which we have used for parallel testing. So if my browser name, dot equals let's say Chrome, then I will initialize the property for Chrome. So driver equal to new Chrome driver, and before that I will have to define the system properties. System dot set property